Welcome to our chat show today. Today, we have with us a young entrepreneur, a leader, and an inspiration to many in the media world, Ms. Juhi Garg, the co-founder of the youth blog ED Times. Hello, Juhi. How are you?
Thank you, Shreya. Very well. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Well, we all know about ED Times. So today we would want you to tell us about the journey you've had with ED Times and what exactly inspired that journey.
So I think the first credit really goes to a college student, my brother, who is supposedly a kid brother to me, 9 years younger. And when he was in college, DU again, Bhagat Singh, he saw that a lot of college kids get exploited for, free labor. Like, they're asked to do internships for free and they're not given the kind of exposure that should be given. So he started a blog called Economy Decoded. And that really, grew to great heights when he was there. But after some time, he had to go into his mainstream career. He could not take it up. And I had just exited my first entrepreneurial venture, which was into law firm consulting. Plus, my degree was in media. So I very well took over Economy Decoded that time. But we wanted to find out how this could become a legitimate business, how we could get into the world of media, how we could actually have, revenue generation models, how we could find ways to pay college students for the great work that they do. Sometimes, their work is as good as a professional who's been here for 10 years. So with that thought, when ED was launched and when I took over, we tried to change it into ED Times, which is more generalist. So we moved away only from the economy category. We opened up all categories. We invited students to write for us. At one point, there were almost 100 contributors from different colleges in India. And from there, the journey has just been going on and on and on. We've been very lucky to have been selected by Google News startups first cohort in India, which has picked up 10 new startups, and they're also going to be funding us, small amount, but they're funding us. So the biggest thing for us was that we are getting validation from Google News. We are also getting market access from them. So for us, I would say the start of the year has been really good. And from Economy Decoded to ED Times to being a startup, which is now backed by Google News, I feel the journey has been very up and down, but crazy and fun.
So firstly, a big congratulations to you for that. And I think it's very, very true that today, especially in the entrepreneur world, even for startups for that matter, students who are working as interns in these companies, they usually given certificates. Yes, that certificate definitely adds to a curriculum vitae that they make later. But it's a lot like unpaid labor, because the amount of hours they contribute, the amount of research that is contributed to each of these articles that they write, that is tremendous on their part. So yes, it's very true what you said. So Juhi, how big is ED today?
So we've tried to keep the organization pretty lean, because I believe that businesses should always work at profitability and not just scale. So for us, it's not important that we are a 100-member team. I feel that it's more about revenues and being positive, so that at all times you can sustain on your own and you're not dependent on let's say funding, or you're not dependent on external partners to be able to sustain you. And that is why our team as of now should be having around 15 to 17 very young and dynamic people who contribute to writing, who contribute to the social media pages of ED. We have 2 full-time employees who are handling the complete operations of ED. And other than that, of course, we have a lot of guest writers and guest bloggers who come and contribute. Then there are digital PR agencies which have signed up with us for releasing content. So that is also another way that we produce a lot of content, but mostly in the digital PR field. So that would be the size. And I would say that for the past 3-4 years, we've been not just sustainable, but also profitable and completely on our own. So, we have tried to be very conscious that we want to stay away from the funding platform. If it's about just equity burn and cash burn and grow big at any cost, we don't want to go down that mad route, because we feel at the end of the day that lets you compromise on your ethics. And that is something that we choose not to do.
Absolutely. So while we're on the topic of ethics, one major thing, because you function completely online, it's a website that's working for you guys. So it's a very competitive space out there, the digital world, right? With so many independent news blogs coming up, youth blogs coming up. So in this particular scenario, especially with social media as well becoming an extremely, extremely important tool for media out there, how would you say that you have survived this competitive space so successfully? Is there like a hidden mantra to it?
No, so that's the biggest, toughest, pain point for us. Social media, going viral on social media. There is no algorithm. There is just no trick. You don't know what will go viral. You just you continue doing good work, and you continue doing good stories. And sometimes we used to think that a lot of sensible content does not get really picked up. It's mostly sensational, scandalous kind of stuff, more of entertainment, more of movies and all. But we see that there is a decent mix of smart stories also going viral. People want to read about startups, people want to read about economy, they want to read about finance, investing and all, and how it impacts a young person, because they're very much invested in the economy today. They're very much motivated by politics. So sometimes, a lot of times, 50% I would say those stories also go viral, and half the times, yes, a lot of entertainment stories would go viral for us. But the main catch, what you're talking about, sustaining in a very saturated, very, very competitive market, also because we are competing in a way with mainstream media. Earlier, the space of digital online media was only the new players. But when mainstream media also decided that, yes, why can't we have a ndtv.com? Why can't we have, a timesnow.com, which is the biggest news website? And there, the kind of money they can pump in, the kind of access they have, obviously the kind of numbers that they can roll up, you really can't compete with them. So I think the only mantra for us has been that, can we keep on providing relevant content to our TG? Can we keep on innovating? Can we keep on doing something that cuts away from the noise? So there's so much noise online, I feel, and there's so much information, there's so much stories. As long as you can provide your reader with what he's looking for, and you're relevant to him, you're relatable to him, I think you're doing your job. Yes, we are not very big right now. I would still consider myself to be a small media startup. In terms of numbers, like I said, we're almost touching 1 million views a month, which is okay, which is decent. We want to go to a 5 million, we want to go to a 10 million, and that will also require like a little bit of cash infusion, a lot of cash infusion actually. But I feel the only way that we've been here in the market for 5 years now is that we've chosen to continue doing credible stories. We've chosen to do standout content, which is not like a lot of other platforms. We do generalist kind of content. We're not category focused. We are not very niche. We try and do everything which is Indian youth focused. So they're interested in politics, they're interested in sports, they're interested in entertainment. They want a bite of everything. And that's the kind of content that we really focus on. And maybe it's been working for us.
Right. So meaningful content would be the mantra, if I had to like summarize what you said,
Yes.
which is absolutely true. But like, while we're talking about meaningful content, what is also very important to remember here is that, especially in today's state, with seditions playing such a big role, especially for the independent houses there, what would you say, like from your perspective, how difficult has it been to operate under such circumstances?
Very. So I would say that it definitely has an impact on your content strategy. I mean, the much open that you want to be, especially young people. So all our writers are really young people, and they're very charged. I'm not saying that we give them a platform to let out all their anger and frustration. We tell them to become way more balanced, way more holistic when they come out with their content, even if they're angry and frustrated about a topic, and especially like politics and economics. Right. They're so cued in about what's happening around them, be it in India, be it in the world. They're so plugged in with everything, and they have a voice and they have an opinion, which is very valid. Today you don't need to be 50 to be able to become a big startup entrepreneur. So if a 23-year-old can make a really huge startup like an Oyo, then of course their voice is very valid. Now the only thing is that we try and moderate it with ensuring that they have an entire view of the matter, and it's not just one-sided. But at the end of the day, even when they come up with very balanced, very well backed and cited stories, highly sourced, they try and understand things from a historical perspective and not just what's happening, like Kashmir. Of course, if they're going to read a lot of, I would say 80% of the media, they'll think, oh, what's happening in Kashmir is wrong. But You need to go a little bit back in the history. You need to understand what's been happening over the course of years. And that is something that we encourage every writer in ED to do. But I see that in spite of doing those kind of stories, there's so many legal cases that we attract. There's so much of, we are scared of what will happen if we actually write something which is not supporting the government, which is talking harshly against the government. Will be called anti-national, and then there could be a lot of brickbats. We're not very sure if we'll be allowed to operate. So yes, I feel that we have tuned in our content strategy based on the kind of environment that we are seeing ourselves in, just to be able to continue doing the work subtly, not getting in the limelight, so that we don't want to be banned at the end of the day, or we don't want somebody chasing us or a witch hunt happening against us. But let's say things might change, scenarios might change. We still give voice to people who want to write something sensible. We try and not to go very extreme. That's the only thing that all these pieces have done to us.
So basically moving forward, but cautiously is what you are following.
I think it's important to stay in the business to be able to bring about a change. If you just go out of business, if you're out of the league, it's like, staying, if you're in the government, you can bring about a lot of change. So if you're in the business, you can still publish stories which do make an impact instead of just, completely getting banned.
Right. Yeah, because if there's no platform for them to voice an opinion, then it doesn't make any sense. Because social media, like you said, yes, there is so much of noise that sometimes it actually becomes too much for people to actually hunt and search what exactly is meaningful out there.
What
exactly.
Is the
there is no credibility.
Of even a verified page coming out with a Facebook post. You don't have sources. You're not citing it. It cannot, people can't use it to claim anything about it. If we are getting cited as sources on Wikipedia, it means they must have checked the legitimacy of the content that we are publishing. That can't happen for a Facebook post.
Right. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Juhi, for joining us for this chat show. It was a pleasure having you here, sharing your insights, experience, and knowledge in the industry. And we wish you all the very best.
Thank you.
That was our chat session for the day. This is your host, Sriya Kundu from India Now. Stay tuned for more.
Bye. Thank you.